My Father and the Fig Tree by Naomi Shihab Nye. For other fruits, my father was indifferent. He'd point at the cherry trees and say, "See those? I wish they were figs." In the evening, he sat by our beds, weaving folk tales like vivid little scarves. They always involved a fig tree. Even when it didn't fit, he'd stick it in. Once, Joha was walking down the road and he saw a fig tree. Or he tied his camel to a fig tree and went to sleep. Or later, when they caught and arrested him, his pockets were full of figs. At age 6, I ate a dried fig and shrugged. "That's not what I'm talking about," he said. "I'm talking about a fig straight from the earth, gift of Allah, on a branch so heavy it touches the ground. I'm talking about picking the largest, fattest, sweetest fig in the world and putting it in my mouth." Here he'd stop and close his eyes. Years passed. We lived in many houses. None had fig trees. We had lima beans, zucchini, parsley, beets. "Plant one," my mother said, but my father never did. He tended garden half-heartedly, forgot to water, let the okra get too big. What a dreamer he is! Look how many things he starts and doesn't finish. The last time he moved, I had a phone call. My father, in Arabic, chanting a song I'd never heard. "What's that?" He took me out to the new yard. There, in the middle of Dallas, Texas, a tree with the largest, fattest, sweetest fig in the world. "It's a fig tree song," he said, plucking his fruits like ripe tokens, emblems, assurance of a world that was always his own. Naomi Shihab Nye was born on March 12, 1952, in St. Louis, Missouri. As a child, she wrote poetry as soon as she could. She explains, "I wrote about all the little stuff a kid would write about: amazement over things, cats, wounded squirrels found in the street, my friend who moved away, trees, teachers, my funny grandma. At that time, I wrote about my German grandma. I wouldn't meet my Palestinian grandma till I was 14. Growing up between both Ramallah, Palestine, and San Antonio, Texas, Nye experienced a contrast between two cultures, and it shapes her poetry today. Nye's books of poetry include Different Ways to Pray, Fuel, and 19 Varieties of Gazelle, which earned praise and awards. Her poetry traces her daily life from the Middle East to the American Southwest. She lives, teaches, and writes in San Antonio, Texas.